Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of the Golden Age. This is a series of Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports, and this is Battle Report number 149. It is a 3,000 point battle that's fought between Orcs and Goblins as well as Dogs of War. My friend Brother Grim is playing the Waaaghpokeylipz Now, which is a 3,000 point Orcs and Goblins army. And at the same time, I am playing the Miragliano Mercenaries, which is my 3,000 point Dogs of War army. Now, for those of you guys who are tuning in for the very first time, what's happening is that I have recently completed a 3,000 point Dogs of War army for Warhammer Fantasy. And what I've been every single time I make a new army on this channel, I take this army and have it run through its paces by fighting every single army in the studio's collection. And so far, the Dogs of War have actually been doing very well, losing only 2 battles up to this point, and they're fighting through all of our different armies one by one. So on this battle report, I'll be taking on Orcs and Goblins. Now, of course, what we're gonna do real quick is take a quick break, play some background music. As the music is playing, we will show you photos of both armies as well as army rosters. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this battle report, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure, or check out the army list in the description box down below. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought or why we died. No. All that matters is that 2 stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
So, the scenario rules for this one is Battle Line. It is the most typical game of Warhammer that we play on this channel with standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions. So now that we're done with the scenario rules, let's go ahead and talk about deployments as well as battle plans. So let's go ahead and talk about the deployment from the Miragliano Mercenaries, which is my 3,000 point Dogs of War army. So starting on the left hand side is Astasi, which is my Mercenary Revolt, and right next to him is Perazzo's Lost Legion. Is a unit of 30 men, pikemen and crossmen from the Perazzo's Lost Legion, which is one of the regiments of renown. They have 12 crosswomen, and the rest are all pikemen. They also got light armor as well as standard bearer musician. And leading this unit is Perazzo himself, who's a special character. He's got a hand weapon, crossbow, heavy armor, and he's also got the Mover Fire special rule for that crossbow. Next on the right hand side is Lucchini Rifles. You have 20 handgunners with musician as well as standard bearer. They are packing handguns as well as devices, and leading that unit is Hildegard von Königsmark. She is a level 1 hireling wizard from the Lore of Light, and so she'll be leading that unit as well. And up in the front there, deployed 12 inches forward, vanguarding forward, are the Thugs of Debaro. It's a unit of 5 stadiotes with light crossbows mounted on horses, and that makes up my left hand flank. Moving on to the center deployment of my army, on the left-hand side, that unit is called the Golden Company. It is a unit of 38 Paymaster's bodyguards with full command. They have musician, standard bearer, as well as warden, which is their champion. They have halberds as well as heavy armor. They also have the standard discipline, giving that unit +1 leadership. Now, normally they won't be able to use the general's inspiring presence rule, but my general is leading this unit. His name is Condottieri Patricio Tercio. He is a merchant prince with a hand weapon. He's got a pistol, shield, mounted on a barded warhorse. He's got the Ogre Blade for +2 strength, the Armor of Destiny for heavy armor rating, as well as a 4+ ward save. He has Guido's Lucky Coin, which allows me to reroll 1 die to hit, to wound, or when taking armor and ward saves. And he has the forward march strategy, which means I can have all infantry units have the vanguard rule of 6 inches if I choose to use it. Also in that unit as well is Brunhilde von Königsmark, my Hireling Wizard Lord. She's a level 4 wizard with the Lore of Light. She also has the Staff of Fickle Fortune. And also in that unit is Sheikh Shabazz, my Paymaster. He's also got a Paymaster's Cart as well as bodyguards. And he's also bringing Justintine's Pay Chest, which allows me to roll 3d6 for break tests, and I could choose the lowest result. On the right hand side, that is the Verezzo Gunners, a unit of 20 handgunners with hand weapons as well as devices and handguns. They also have a musician and standard bearer. They also have the Banner of Eternal Flame, because the best that money can buy rule, my Merchant Prince. And leading that unit is also Gretchen von Königsmark. She is a level 1 wizard from the Lore of Light, and she also is packing a Dispel Scroll. And then finally on the right hand side, that unit is the Nightmare Legion, Mordini's Doomed Legion. It is a regiment of renown with 28 skeleton warriors with full command. They also have halberds, heavy armor, as well as shield. And leading that unit are 2 special characters, Renzo Avanti, which is the unit champion. He's got twin hand weapons as well as heavy armor, and the leader, Ennio Mordini. He's got heavy armor, shield. He's also carrying the sword, Scapsgrath. And that makes him my deployment here in the center. And finally, making my far right hand flank on the left hand side, the Saints of Sartosa. It is a unit of 8 mercenary man-eaters with Bellower as well as standard bearer. They also are all packing heavy armor. The 4 man-eaters in the front rank have additional hand weapons, and the 4 man-eaters in the back have great weapons. And further been there, done that rule, they have Stubborn as well as Vanguard. I decided not to use Vanguard on this one just because I want to keep them back a little bit against my opponent's Fanatics. And then finally on the right hand side is La Agonia, which is my mercenary great cannon, and that makes it my deployment for this battle report. So moving across the table is the Waaaghpokeylipz Now, which is my friend Brother Grimm's 3,000 point Orcs and Goblins army. And on the far left hand side, that unit is called the Backstabbers. It is a unit of 40 Night Goblins with musician as well as standard bearer. They have netters as well as short bows, and they also have 3 Night Goblin fanatics. And right next to them on the right hand side is a unit called the War Boys. It's a unit of 39 Orc Biggins with musician and standard bearer as well as Orc Boss. They have shields, light armor, as well as choppas. They also have the War Banner, giving them +1 to their combat resolution. And leading that unit is Ruggah da Stunty-Flayer. He's a Savage Orc Great Shaman, level 4 wizard with the Lore of the Big Waaagh. He's also got Fencer's Blades, Talisman Endurance for that 5-up ward save. And that pretty much makes a deployment here in the left-hand flank for my friend Brother Grimm. So making up the center of his deployment on the left-hand side, that he is called the Immortals, is a unit of 39 Black Orcs, musician, standard bearer. They also have heavy armor and shield as well as a huge array of weapons. They also have the standard discipline, giving them +1 to leadership. And normally they wouldn't be able to use the general's leadership. However, though, the general of this army is Grimgor Ironhide, the special character with the Incarnate Beast special rule attached to him from the end times. He's got the Locus of Ghur as a bound spell. He's also got Gitsnik as well as Bloodforged armor. Now I forgot to mention this before, but on the left-hand side for the War Boys, we also have the Krimson Killa, which is a Black Orc Big Boss. He's also the army's battle standard bearer. He's got heavy armor as well as a shield and a huge array of weapons. Now on the back, of course, we got 2 Doomdiver catapults called them Kamikaze Boys, and the right-hand side are those Bone Breakers. It's a unit of Squig Herd with 17 Cave Squigs as well as 7 Night Goblin Herders. And finally make up the right-hand flank of my friend Brother Grimm's army. On the left-hand side, that is those Sneaky Gits, which is a unit of 39 Night Goblins with full command. They also have netters as well as short bows, so they also have 3 fanatics as well. And leading that unit is the Shrinking Shroomhead, who is a Night Goblin Great Shaman, level 3 wizard. He's got magical mushrooms as well as a Dispel Scroll. He's also packing the Lore of Undeath. The spells he has on this one are Rise the Grave Called, More Calm, the Breath of Darkness, and Akaron, the Dark Riders. And then finally, the right hand side is Undead Fred the Loon, which is a giant. And that makes the deployment for our friend Brother Grimm for this battle report. So with deployments over with, we go directly to battle plans. So now that we're done with deployments, let's go out and talk about the battle plans real quick. So the battle plan on this one is actually pretty simple. I'm going to try to play as defensively as much as possible. I am fighting against Orcs and Goblins, so my opponent's going to try to cross the battlefield as quick as he can in order to engage my forces. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to try to hang back and then shoot and whittle down his forces as much as I possibly can. Now usually I have the forward march special rule, so usually I move my guys up forward 6 additional inches with Vanguard rules for all my infantry forces. That way I can close the distance with my enemy and shoot them at closer ranges with my handguns. However, being closer to Orcs and Goblins is actually a bad idea, so because I'm going to hang back instead, using normal 12-inch deployments for the most part. The only thing I'm really worried about are these 2 huge formations of Black Orcs as well as Biggins that he has right in the middle of his army as well. He's flanked by either side by hordes of Goblins that also have Fanatics, so I do have to worry about that. So my flanks are a little bit weakened. However, though, on my side, I do have my man-eaters, a cannon, as well as undead. At the same time, I also have my Revolt as well as Perils Lost Legion. So I think I can lock down my flanks pretty well. The only thing I'm to worry about really are these two huge units of ogres, rather. So I'm going to try to whittle those down with handgun shots as well as artillery fire. Hopefully I can use some magic as well, because I do have a Coven of Light build in this army using 3 light wizards. So hopefully I can cause some damage that way. And that's pretty much what my battle plan is for this one. So with the battle plans over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1. Both Brother Grimm and I roll off for initiative to see which of us will be going first. We'll be right back after the turn 1 actions. So we're back now at the top of turn number 1, and as you can see, my friend Brother Grimm managed to get the initiative on this one, so he'll be going first in this one. And just like an unending green tidal wave of death and destruction, my buddy Brother Grimm brings all of his forces up as quickly as he possibly can in order to close the distance between his army as well as my own. And it's actually quite intimidating seeing 4 different horde formations of greenskins just advancing across the field as quickly as possible. So first of all, he of course does his animosity test. Unfortunately for him though, the War Boys did fail their animosity test, but the Crimson Killa, which of course is the army's battle standard bearer, is a black orc, so he uses Quill Animosity special rule, managed to kill one of these guys in order to restore rank. So because of that, they do manage to pass their animosity test, no problem. Now the biggest, most dramatic thing that probably took place was over here with the Ludas. The Ludas, of course, move up their normal movement allowance, march up their normal movement allowance, but when they did so, though, they got within close range of my Stadiotes, so because of that, the Thugs to Borrow triggered the Fanatics that were located in this unit. So the Fanatics, of course, popped out. One of them popped out at 3 inches, another one at 4 inches, the other one actually went forward 9 inches, smashed directly into my Stadiotes, and managed to kill 4 of them. And of course, I automatically fail my brag test because I'm below 25% with my casualties. So because I had to flee backwards, I ran into the third Fanatic that broke through, and of course, it destroyed both of them. So just like that, my Stadiotes is dead. However, to be perfectly fine though, I'm perfectly fine losing light cavalry so long as I can get those fanatics popped up early, so I won't have to worry about them. Now, of course, the rest of the movement phase, everybody else just moves at their maximum movement allowance as quick as they possibly can, except for Undead Fred and the Loon. Undead Fred and the Loon actually kind of went over to march right behind the standing stones, so that way they're out of line of sight from my cannon for La Agonia, which actually makes sense because I was going to actually try to pop that giant with my great cannon, so it was a good move, my friend Brother Grimm. So now that we're done with the move phase, we go directly to the magic phase. We'll be right back after that. So we are back after the turn 1 magic phase. So real quick, my friend Brother Grimm does, of course, try to use the Shrinking Shroom Head and cast a spell in order to bring up a unit of Fast Cav. We're trying to bring up a unit of 5 hex rates, actually, so that way you can kind of summon right here and have them attack my War Machine. Luckily for me, though, I was able to dispel that spell pretty easily just using my normal power dice. However, the big one came, though, when he decided to activate the Locus of Ghur for Grimgor Ironhide. As the Incarnate of Beast, he was able to get off that spell. Well, unfortunately for me, I rolled 4 once for my dispel attempt, so I was unable to stop any of it. So because everything within 12 inches gets +1 strength and +1 toughness, so the looters over here have +1 strength, +1 toughness, so strength 4, toughness 4 goblins. That is terrifying. Same thing with these squig hunters over here, +1 toughness as well as strength. Strength 5, Toughness 5 Black Orcs, and Strength 5, Strength 5, Toughness 5 Black Orcs, and Strength 4, Toughness 5 Orcs, Orc Biggins. So, whatever hope I had of actually winning these guys with some shooting from my handguns, not going to be all that easy during the very first phase. Now, because he's done with the magic phase, and because everything marches forward, we go directly to the shooting phase. So, we'll be right back after this. So, during the shooting phase, since everything pretty much marched up forward, he can't do any shooting with any of his goblin units. However, his Doom Diver catapults the Kamikaze Boys. So first of all, the very first one tries to open fire, but unfortunately for my friend Brother Grimm, he rolls a misfire 2 on that one. So because of that, one of the Kamikaze Boys explodes because it's absolutely destroyed. The second one, however, takes aim and opens fire with his Doom Diver, gets direct hit directly onto Lucchini rifles, managed to kill 4 of my handgunners as well. Now, luckily for me, of course, I do pass my panic check, which is pretty easy to understand to do because it's right next to my general's unit with my paymaster, so because of that, they managed to stand their ground. And that pretty much ends the shooting phase for my friend Brother Grimm. And since there's no close combat, we skip the combat phase and go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for my army, the Miragliano Mercenaries. We'll be right back after my turn 1 movement. So we are back now at the bottom of turn number 1 for my army, the Mirigliano mercenaries, and this is actually after my movement phase. And as you can see, not much of my army actually moves. For most of my army, it's pretty much stationary. I fight defensively for the most part, and plus a lot of my shooting elements in this army are either stand and shoot or move. So because of that, my handgunners, as well as Perazzo's Lost Legion, stand exactly where they're located at, so that way they can do some shooting. I also move up a little bit. I actually turn my Stasi, my mercenary bolts, that way I can get within range to open fire at my opponents as well. The only real movement takes place over here on my right-hand flank. I march up the Nightmare Legion for Mordini's Nightmare Legion, up for the maximum allowance, that way they can flank the Black Orcs if they decide to charge forward, or to protect my flanks on my handgunners from these little horde of goblins, as well as these crazy squig herd. And at the same time, I also move up my my man-eaters real quick, just a little bit faster, a little bit forward, the Saints of Sartosis, that way they can intercept the giant that plans on coming on during this time, or these huge horde formation of goblins as well. Hopefully I can take out those goblins and then of course just sweep across my enemy's flank and destroy them that way, or kill my opponent's demon for the most part. So with the movement phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. I'll be right back after this. So we are back now with the magic phase. So my magic phase was actually kind of lackluster for the most part. I do try to cast a Shaman's Burning Gaze with both Gretchen von Königsmark as well as Hildegard von Königsmark. Now, unfortunately, my spells didn't go off too well because my opponent, Brother Grimm, decided to use the Dispel dice in order to stop those spells from getting off. But that was actually kind of a good thing because the real spells I wanted to use or Banishment for the most part. So I do cast Banishment real quick with Brunhilde von Königsmark, and it goes boosted the strength to strength 6. I was able to kill 5 of these Black Orcs, so that part was kind of nice. And for my last little buff, I did manage to cast Brianna's Time Warp directly onto Mordini's Lost Legion. So now because they always have double speed for their movement allowance, they also have always strike first as well as +1 attack. So that way, kind of boost speed up a little bit in order to cause some pain to my opponent. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. So now we're back with the shooting phase, so let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, I concentrated fire with Astasi, my Revolt, as well as Perazzo's Lost Legion and Lucchini rifles directly into the War Boys, the Biggins. As you can see, I managed to plink up a couple of those guys off, so I think I managed to kill, 6 of them. So that +1 toughness, man, it really dies down your thunder when you're trying to shoot your opponents with strength 4 weapons. At the same time, I also fired real quick with my Renzo Gunners. I think I was able to kill 2 of the Black Orcs over there. So that part was not so great. However, what was really awesome though was Lagonia, my Great Cannon. I opened fire measuring 10 from the back directly towards the Shrinking Shroom Head, which is the Shaman that's located, that Goblin Shaman that's located in this unit. Managed to hit him and kill him only. I actually bounced directly 8 inches directly into the unit and managed to hit him by himself, failing his lookout stir roll. So just like that, my opponent's Light Goblin Shaman is now dead, which is all kinds of awesome. So with the shooting phase over with, we skip the combat phase because no one's engaged in close combat, and we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for my friend Brother Grimm. We'll be right back after this. So we are back now at the top of turn number 2 for my buddy Brother Grimm, and this is after the movement phase. And as you can see from this overhead shot, there has been some very dramatic movement taking place on the battlefield. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, my friend decided to declare a charge first with the unit of the Immortals, that huge horde formation of Black Orcs. And of course, he charged across the battlefield. He rolled an 11 to make it across the battlefield, smash it directly into the Rezo Gunners. I do manage, I think, to kill 2 of them, I think is what I managed to do with my standard shoot reaction, but now my Rezo Gunners are engaged in close combat with those guys. At the same time, from there, my friend decides to declare a charge with the Bone Breakers, as well as the Mangos and the Bone Breakers. So because they managed to get that charge off no problem, smash it directly into Mordini's Nightmare Legion. Now from there, he rolls a second 11. Oh my god, a second 11 with the War Boys. Managed to charge across the battlefield directly into my Lucchini rifles. Now there was some good things that happened. If you notice, a lot of his guys are dead, but it wasn't from my standard shoot reaction. I think I only managed to kill 2 guys from that. But he clipped 2 of the fanatics that came from the backstabbers that were in the way. He decided to go with it anyways because he had a 50-50 chance of losing guys because his orcs were toughness 5 and the fanatic attacks were toughness 5 as well. So he did lose a couple of guys. He lost 5 guys, but considering he's got like a huge horde formation of biggins, it didn't really matter. So he closed the distance and smashed directly into my Lucchini rifles as well. Now, meanwhile over here, he just moves up his normal moon allowance for his dim backstabbers so they can get range of firing their short bows directly into Perazzo's Lost Legion. And at the same time over here on the right hand side, he marches up both the Ludas as well as the as well as Undead Friend the Loon. Now, by marching up the Ludas, he actually got within 8 inches of my Saints of Sartosa, so all 3 of his fanatics pop and go directly into my unit as well. They rolled like 10, 11, I think a 9, so they went right through my Saints of Sartosa. Luckily for me, though, they only managed to kill one of my ogres from my man-eaters and put 2 wounds on the other one, but now I do have to worry because now these fanatics are in my back ranks and they can cause some problems if I'm not careful. And that pretty much makes it the move phase for this one. So the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. So we're back now with the magic phase, and unfortunately for my friend Brother Grim, his magic phase is pretty much lackluster. He does attempt to cast Voodoo Gork and actually rolls 6d6 in order to get that spell off. Now he did get it off with a 24, so he's able to target directly into my golden company. But luckily for me though, I have a dispel scroll, so I burn the dispel scroll and do away with that spell. He has 3 more dice left. He tries to get the Locus of Ghur off, but I still have my 6 power dice remaining, so I was able to stop that spell from getting off. So pretty lackluster magic phase for my friend Brother Grim, all things considered. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. So we're back with the shooting phase real quick. So of course my opponent of course sends in one of the Kamikaze boys, gets a direct hit directly onto my golden company, managed to kill 4 of my mercenaries, so that part was kind of sad. So 4 of my Paymaster's bodyguard are now dead. However, probably the most insane thing that took place was the backstabbers. The backstabbers opened fire with their 40 plus Night Goblins and short bows, giving 30 shots in total. In the end, he was able to kill 10 members of Peraza's Lost Legion. Now luckily for me though, I do pass my panic test, so I am perfectly fine, but still, horde formations of Night Goblins or short bows is absolutely terrifying. It's a very terrifying thing to face against. So with that being said, with the shooting phase now over with, we go directly to the combat phase. We'll be right back after this. So we're back for the first part of the combat phase. The reason why we did this is because the combat between Mordini's Nightmare Legion as well as those Bone Breakers, they basically go through close combat. In the end, I was able to, they managed to kill 6 of my members of the Nightmare Legion, which is kind of sad. But as you can see over here, I managed to kill 9 members of the Squigs. So because I do win combat on this one, which causes them to take a break test, and they flee. But because all of the unit handlers are dead, we have the Squig Goes Wild special will kick in, which basically means every unit within 2d6 inches takes d6 plus 1 hits for every 5 squigs at strength 5. So because of them to go flee, they managed to hit everybody within 8 inches, 6 hits 8 inches for every unit. So you see right here, they managed to kill 6 members of the Immortals, 4 members of the Veronzo Gunners. They managed to kill 3 more members of Mardini's Nightmare Legion, as well as put 6 wounds directly onto my Saints of Sartosa, killing 2 more of my guys and putting floating wound on another one. Luckily for me, I do pass my panic check on those units. They don't flee, so thank goodness for that. As well as managed to kill 5 members of the Ludas as well. So this little atom bomb of squigs kind of goes off over here on the right-hand flank. Now, of course, that does mean that my Nightmare Legion does win combat, of course, and we'll come back with the aftermath after we clean everything up. So we're back from the combat phase. As you can see, managed to cause all kinds of chaos from those Bone Breakers. I do a quick combat reform to face against the back here of the Immortals. Now, unfortunately for me, the Immortals just straight up massacred the Veronzo Gunners, killed every single person in that unit to the last man, and they do a swift reform real quick to face off against the right-hand flank of my Golden Company. So that part was insane. Now, meanwhile, over here, these heroes, these absolute legends, let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, I of course do attack first because I do have higher initiative than my opponent, but I only managed to kill one of the War Boys. It was really, really pathetic. I really didn't do much of anything. The War Boys, on the other hand, managed to kill 12 of the Lucini rifles. And of course, obviously, I failed this, I lost this combat by a landslide. So I have to roll Snake Eyes in order to stand my ground. And what do these guys do? What do these titans of soldierdom do? They roll Insane Courage. And just like that, they flip a middle finger to the air to the orcs and say, no, forget this. We stand our ground. And they are going another round of combat, if you can believe it. Oh my god, the Lucini rifles are all that is mighty and powerful in Warhammer. So that pretty much makes it the combat phase. So with the combat phase over with, we go directly to the bottom, turn number 2 for the Dogs of War. So we'll be right back after my movement phase. So we are back now for the bottom of turn number 2 for my army, the Miragliano Mercenaries, and this is after the move phase. So let's talk about exactly what ended up happening. So as you can see, I did some dramatic move myself, and I decided to, with a YOLO in the air, I decided to charge forward. So first of all, over here on the left-hand side, the Lucchini rifles. These magnificent titans of stalwartness. These guys managed to pass through. Yeah, I know. I still have the double the insane courage. I decided to leave it on there just to show you how awesome these guys actually are. So they stand their ground, obviously, because they're currently fighting the War Boys. I declare a charge with the Lorenzo's Lost Legion. Now, granted, I do lose my ability to attack in multiple ranks with my pikes by doing this, but the reason why I do this in reality is to disrupt the War Boys. My hope is, because I've taken away rank bonuses, hopefully I can cause enough damage in terms of combat res in order to make these guys flee. That is what my plan is. Now, granted, that does open my flank up to the them backstabbers. I mean, that is a huge risk I'm going to have to take, but so be it on this side. Meanwhile, in the center over here, I declare a charge with the Golden Company. They cartwheel directly into the Immortals and catch the Immortals in a pincer attack from the front, as well as my Mordini's Nightmare Legion charging forward directly in the rear and catching these guys in a pincer attack. This battle right here, this fight, will basically determine who ends up winning the game, actually, all things considered. And the last thing I do, of course, is I declare a charge with the Saints of Sartosa. They go tearing across the battlefield, smashing directly into Deludas. Now, unfortunately, I didn't manage to get a 10 or higher for my charge. I only got an 8, so I don't get these 3 impact hits, but I still get impact hits nonetheless. And of course, what that does, it does open my flank out directly to worry about and defend the Loon, but I'm hoping that my cannon can cause enough damage with Grape Shot in order to, cripple this guy, if not straight up kill him. And that pretty much makes up my move phase for this one. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. So we are now back with the magic phase from my army, the Miragliano Mercenaries. Unfortunately, the magic phase is very uninspired. I think I managed to get 4 power dice able to do, but with those power dice, I was able to get out Barona's Time Warp directly onto the Golden Company. My opponent did try to dispel it, of course, but luckily for me, though, that Fickle Staff of Fortune really helped out, give me a +3 on my casting roll, so it really saved me on that one. What this does for the Golden Company, of course, it doubles their movement, which is not all that important unless I'm pursuing, of course, but the important part does, it gives me +1 attack as well as always strike first, which is going to be very, very helpful to use against this huge horde brick formation of Black Orcs. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. So we are back now with the shooting phase. So my Revolt Leostasi opens up directly into the backstabbers. Managed to kill 5 of those guys. So that part was kind of nice. Whatever I can do to whittle those guys down just a little bit with my Revolt. But the big score over here took place right over here. First of all, I opened fire with Grape Shot, firing from Agonia directly into Undead Fred the Loon. Managed to get 7 wounds on that guy with my Grape Shot, so it was absolutely fantastic. So because that, was able to kill this dude, drops him down, he goes timber and crashes to the ground, and Undead Fred and the Loon are now dead. So with the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. We'll be right back after this. So we are back now with the combat phase, so let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, the Saints of Sartosa versus the Backstabbers was a complete massacre. I managed to kill 20 of those guys in the end, and they only managed to kill one of my ogres. That's why the one died represented over there, the last one that was used to kill one of my ogre man-eaters. Needless to say, I won this combat by a landslide. So of course my opponent has to flee. He rolls a 4, I roll a 5, so that unit's going to get destroyed and completely ran down by my Saints of Sartosa. The big combat, though, took place right over here, between the Immortals, as well as a pincer attack between Mordini's Nightmare Legion, as well as the Golden Company. Needless to say, the Golden Company slaughtered on this one with always strikes first. They got to reroll their attacks. Now, because of what ended up happening, of course, let's go ahead and talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, Grimgor Ironhide, the Incarnate Beast, declares a challenge. And of course, I have my Warden, which is the champion of the unit to accept the challenge. He gets killed as well 3 times over in that challenge, as you can imagine. So it ended up being about, 4 plus 3, so 7. He wins by 7 on that one. However, the combined attacks of all of my Paymaster's bodyguards in the horde formation, with the additional attack that they get from Barona's Time Warp from the front rank anyways, as well as the attacks from my Prince, as well as my Paymaster, I put like 19 wounds directly off his unit as well. I managed to kill almost every single one of the units there. And I landed with 4 Black Orcs left, as well as Grimgor Ironhide. Now the Black Orcs attack managed to kill 3 more of my guys, so that part was kind of sad. But the most impressive part took place when the Nightmare Legion attacked. The Nightmare Legion managed to kill off the last of the Black Orcs, but my leader, Enzio Mordini, he actually managed to hit Grimgor Ironhide twice, wounds him twice with 5-ups. Because of his sword Scabsgrath, the Killing Blow rule is a 5-up on that one for his wounds. So unfortunately for my opponent, he's got a 5-up ward save. He fails one of them. So just like that, Grimgor Ironhide is killed. And needless to say, my friend Brother Grim decides not to carry on the rest of the combat just because there really isn't any point at this moment. So just like that, the game immediately ends with a victory for the Dogs of War. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly to the after action report because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Alright, so now it's time for the After Action Report. This is the part of the battle report where we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the After Action Report for the Golden Age, battle report number 149, and this one ended up being a victory for yours truly. In the end, I was able to score 1,998 victory points, while Brother Grimm was able to score 690 victory points. For my losses, I lost Gretchen von Königsmark, Hildegard von Königsmark, the Renzo Gunners, as well as the Thugs of Debarro. Brother Grimm, on the other hand, lost Grimgor Ironhide, the Incarnate Beasts, the Shrinking Shroomhead, them Backstabbers, them Mortals, those Bonebreakers, one of them Kamikaze Boys, and Undead Friend in the Loon. So currently my army's record right now is at 6 victories as well as 2 losses, and I got extremely lucky in this battle. If it wasn't for that pincer attack that I pulled off on the Immortals at the last minute with my Mordini's Nightmare Legion as well as the Golden Company, I would have lost this battle. Defeating Grimgor and Ironhide as well as the Immortals really helped me put me over the top with 600 plus victory points, which really put me ahead of my opponent, so that way my opponent can actually, bounce back from that. Another thing that was also interesting about this battle was the Locus of Ghur bound spell. It was very difficult for my friend Brother Grimm to get that spell off before in the past, but this time I was able to do so. So going against Toughness 5 Black Orcs and Biggins, as well as Strength and Toughness 4 Goblins, is a terrifying prospect. Usually my handguns can do really well against my opponents because they're Strength 4 weapons, but against Toughness 5, I'm wounding on a 5-up, so it's really hard to whittle down their numbers, especially when they have good defense against shooting attacks. And as always, fanatics always haunt my dreams, and the inclusion of the netters and the gullies this time around was kind of a rough surprise. I was not expecting netters this time around, and having that -1 strength to my ogre man-eaters was actually quite a surprise. I was actually really taken aback when that happened. So it kind of caused some problems for me as well. At the same time, magic in this battle wasn't actually much of an impact in this game. It was very much lackluster, which is kind of problematic for me because yes, I do have one lore that I'm using, which is Lore of Life, but I have 3 wizards in my army, and I really need to get those magical attacks off to whittle down my opponent, so it became a huge problem for me on this one. I was quite lucky because I got Barona's Time Warp off twice when it really needed to be there to get that +1 attack and always strike first, so that part was kind of nice, but that was pretty tough. At the same time, Brother Grimm destroyed my handgunner units. That was also pretty insane as well, but the Lucchini rifles, man, those guys are the salt of the earth, just titans of toughness, soldiers hardcore with that insane courage, standing their ground and not going anywhere. That really helped kind of sell my victory at the top because then my opponent realized that the left-hand flank was going to be locked down, and because that left-hand flank was secured and locked down, I can entirely concentrate on the Immortals, which of course won me this battle as well. So even though it was a sad day for my friend Brother Grimm, though, it is always a blast to play against him whenever I can. So as always, I am looking forward against the rematch against him and his Orc and Goblin army. So that's good, dude. This is one, guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this one, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.